First of all, guys, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. This is our first of many monthly expert speaker series that we're going to be doing at Chat Mama Soul. Every month, I'm going to have on somebody equally as amazing, even though that will be hard to beat, as Julia. Julia has been, just to introduce you, so I just want to introduce her to all of you in case you don't know her. So Julia is a seasoned manifestation and business coach. She's actually been my business coach and manifestation coach for the past 8 months, I want to say. I can't believe it's been that long. She's changed my life. She truly has. I've cried when I talk about her, but she's changed my life, my personal life, and my life in my business. She's helped me create so many amazing things. Part one of which she helped me create was our first Mama Soul partnership program. Hi, Ashley. Ashley's here. She was a part of that, and she's so amazing. But just to tell you a little bit about Julia, Julia has spent the past 12 years up until, Julia, you'll have to tell me when you started the business.
2021.
2021. But started, she was working for Google and Twitter in business development and super high-powered exec there. And now she's full-time manifestation and business coach. So I'm just so excited to have you here and share you with the world because you're so special. And I want everyone to hear what you have to say because it's really important. And I hope that everybody leaves here feeling inspired and supported. And I also want to start off by saying Julia is a mom of 3. She runs an extremely successful business. She can relate to all things motherhood and just having such a hectic schedule, just like I do, which is so great for me when I'm talking to her because she just gets it. Moms just get it. So first, Julia, let's just jump in.
All right, let's jump in. And hi, Vonda. I see Vonda's in here. Thank you so much for that introduction, Arielle. Before we jump in, I just want to say this woman on the other end, Arielle, is such a special human being. I'm so grateful that the universe brought us together. I'm so excited about her business and her mission and Mama Soul. I'm a big user of Mama Soul, and in fact, I wore the sunscreen this morning before I went on a run. But really, like, we have connected on such a deep level. And she is a testament to, I think, everything that we're going to talk about today, which is that when you set the intention, when you believe in yourself, when you have a vision and you move forward from a place of feeling really good and aligned, anything can happen. Magic happens. So thank you, Arielle, for having me. I'm so grateful to be here.
Well, thank you for that introduction. So for those that especially are joining from my end, because I'm sure anyone who has joining from Julia's end is familiar with what manifestation is, but for those that aren't, can you just define what, if somebody were to ask you what is manifestation?
Yes. Let me just, what's the first thing that's coming from? It's interesting because I get this question a lot. What is manifestation? And there's so many different definitions out there and so many different interpretations out there and so many different practices out there. It can actually be really confusing when it is so simple. And that is that manifestation is simply this idea that your thoughts and your beliefs and what you focus on creates your reality. That's it. And whether you like it or not, you are always manifesting. All of us are always manifesting. Our realities are a product of what we believe and think and focus on. And so the idea with intentional manifestation, and I think that's really what we're going to be talking about today, is to get really intentional on the vision of what you want, to get focused on it, and to reframe a lot of the limiting beliefs that are counter to what you really want, in order to believe that what you really want is possible. That's it. Thoughts, beliefs, and focus create a reality.
Lifestyle choice. Yeah. Believe it into existence. That's, I mean, that's true whether you're thinking good things and bad things. And I think that's really important to say too, because it's like when I was in this like cycle of just thinking small, thinking negatively, that's the existence that I was living in because I was putting energy into those thoughts. And so more and more were coming back to me
Yeah.
instead of now I've really shifted that.
Yeah. Well,
So
I do want to say one little addition to that because I think some people are like, oh, shoot, well, I have so many negative thoughts. Am I just going to create a like horrific experience for myself? And I do want to add that positive thoughts are like 1,000 times more powerful than negative thoughts. And also, we all have negative thoughts. I have a million negative thoughts a day. It's just that when you can become really aware of them and start to shift them in the moment, that's when you start to see the change. So it's not like we live in this world of like just all sunshine and rainbows and butterflies and all positive thoughts. It's not about being high vibe all the time. We want to feel the emotions. In fact, we need to feel the emotions, the negative ones, that challenges everything. But just recognizing that when we're thinking about something that we want to believe that it's possible and we want to feel good. And so process the emotions. Negative thoughts are okay, but don't sit in it. Try to shift yourself into the thoughts that are going to serve you and into the emotions that feel good.
well, that's a perfect segue into limiting beliefs, right? And like, because that's part of it, what I define as thinking maybe negatively.
Mm.
Um, what would you, I can talk about a limiting belief that I've had.
Yeah.
And maybe you can share one of yours. Um, so we're a startup. We don't have a huge budget. And I was feeling like I'm up against these other huge brands, and I don't have hundreds and thousands and thousands of dollars to put into my marketing. And I was like, how am I going to get this message across? How am I going to spread awareness about Mama Soul and our mission without more money, right? And like I was just like, how is this going to happen? And then I met Julia, and Julia introduced me to what limiting beliefs are and how to shift them and change them. And I changed my limiting belief to my budget might be small, but my message is mighty and it will be spread far and wide. And and that really helped me because I felt like I was just like sitting in this thought of I'm not going to get anywhere with my budget. Yeah. And now, we've been featured on Harper's Bazaar, Women's Health Magazine. We're launched at the Fairmont hotels, and big things are coming, and I really owe a lot of that to you.
No.
Just want to say.
No, you owe it to yourself. But yeah, that's a perfect example. And I think just giving context to limiting beliefs, they're exactly what they sound like. They are beliefs that are limiting you from what you ultimately desire, or from your goals, or from your dreams, or from how you want to feel. And so I think with limiting beliefs, the first part is to realize that we always manifest and we always act in accordance to our beliefs, whether or not we're aware of them. Subconscious beliefs or beliefs that we are very conscious of. And so the first part of this whole limiting belief exercise, and I think a core part to manifesting, is one, getting really clear on what you believe is possible for yourself. And so in your case, I think what we did is like, we're thinking about, okay, what's the vision? What's the goal? We want Mama Soul here. We want to reach this many people. We want to be the go-to sunscreen, mineral sunscreen. We want to, change the way people approach sunscreen. And then we thought about, or you thought about, okay, why don't I think that's possible? And one of those things was budget.
Yeah.
I don't have I'm not, I don't know, Sephora or whatever, like a big brand that can just spend millions of dollars on marketing. And so that's the first step. Okay, so that belief, my budget is too small to get to this vision, is actually holding you back, whether or not you want to believe that. Because again, we're always going to act, we're always going to manifest from what we believe. And so the cool thing is once you can identify those limiting beliefs. So I'll give an example. You, oh, Bruno, sorry, that's my dog. What an example from my life, which I've talked about before, but one of my idols is a man named Mike Dooley, who introduced me to manifestation. He wrote a book that was life changing called Infinite Possibilities, and it took me from a place of feeling like a victim of my life to recognizing that I am powerful and can create anything that I want through, again, my thoughts and beliefs. So this was a man that changed my life. And when I started the podcast, I'm like, I would love nothing more than to have him interview him on the podcast. And I was flooded with so many limiting beliefs. He's too famous. I'm too small. He doesn't have enough time. He just everything that you could think of, like this guy will not be on it. And I realized that that was blocking me from being able to have him on because I didn't believe it was possible. So one by one, I started writing down every limiting belief that I have. Why won't Mike Dooley join me on the podcast? Again, he doesn't have enough time. I reframe that. Like people make enough time. People make time for things that they care about. I'm too annoying. I'm too small. And like, honestly, I'm his biggest fan and supporter, and I have a big audience on my podcast. This is an opportunity to share his message, and it's free marketing for him. And I buy his book and give it to all of my clients. Like this is not.
You guys know Julia's
yeah.
talking about Mike Dooley,
Yeah.
who's the author of Infinite Possibilities. This book single-handedly changed my life. I mean, it really did.
Yeah.
I owe a lot of like these books and like these messages that I'm getting to Julia because Julia's introducing me to this whole world that I wasn't in.
Yeah.
Um, and to finish your story, I know you can.
Yeah. And so anyway, I reframed all these limiting beliefs, and all of a sudden I felt different. Like I felt like, wow, I think I could, this guy, this idol of mine might actually now join me on the podcast because I don't have any resistance. There are no beliefs that are telling me that this isn't possible. I started to reframe my beliefs around the whole situation. And it's not a coincidence that a week later he emailed me and I got him on the podcast. So that's just one little micro example. I think Arielle's example is a bigger example, but with any goal, anything that you want to achieve in your life, the first step is, why don't I believe that it's possible? Write it down and then start to tell yourself a different story. Reframe it, rewrite it into how it actually is possible. Or maybe it's an affirmation that you tell yourself. And it's not like you're telling yourself something you don't believe, because that can actually be psychologically damaging. It's not like you're saying I'm rich and I'm famous if you're not rich and famous and that's where you want to go. But you could say, I have seen other people with incredible come up stories. I believe that it's possible. And then that shift right there can change everything.
Yeah, love that. Can you, for people who are just joining and people who, you know, like I said, don't know a lot about manifestation, what's an activity today that somebody could do right now? Get out a journal, and if you had to tell them, what's the first step to creating that shift?
Okay. My favorite, well, I think it's like the quintessential, like the tried and true manifestation technique if you're just getting started. And it happens to be what I talked about in my very first episode of the Dream Your Life podcast, which I started this podcast while I was in corporate. I was actually on maternity leave, had 3 kids, did not have any intention to turn this into a business or monetize it in any way. I just wanted to share these principles and these ideas that had totally changed my life. And anyway, the podcast ended up changing mine. But the practice, if you're just getting started manifesting, is so simple. Write down a list of 10 big dreams, goals that you have. You want them to feel really lofty and big. you want them to feel big enough where you can't in your mind figure out how you're going to get there. Um, but also attainable, also something that feels plausible. One day it will achieve, you'll achieve it. So they have to feel really exciting. You write these things down, and it can be anything. It can be a business or career related goal, it can be a financial goal, it can be a relationship goal, friendship goal, experience, bucket list thing that you want to do. Whatever it is, there's no rules. Whatever comes to mind, things that you truly desire, that when you think about, you're like, ah, that would be so amazing if I could make that happen. It could be related to your home or environment or where you live, anything. So you write it down. I like to keep it at a list of like 10 to 15. This is different from goals, because goals are much more like, I think of them as binary. You know, you want goals to be specific and measurable and like, check it off. I did it or not, or I didn't do it. Manifestations are much more like, when you achieve it, it's an ongoing thing. So it can be a feeling, it can be again more of like an experience, more of something like that. So you write these 10 things down and you look at them, if you can, twice a day, once in the morning, once in the evening. I know that sounds like a lot. Actually, if you really want to crush this thing, look at it 3 times a day. And when you look at this list, you close your eyes and you just imagine these things coming true. There's a lot more to this, but this is the simplest practice. I kid you not. Like every time I do this, because I keep updating my list, the things happen. And it's not just me. I have had countless people who have listened to that first episode who have told me, oh my God, you will not believe the things that are manifesting off of this list that I have. Because I tell people to put it in your phone, because you always have your phone with you.
For
So you
people
can
who
put it.
just joined,
Yeah.
and not to interrupt, Julia is just saying a really great way to incorporate manifestation, like today, like if you've never done an exercise, is to write 10 things, like big dreams, but plausible and attainable things that you think one day could happen.
Yeah.
And write this list down, and then 2 to 3 times a day, you're going to be looking at this list.
Yeah.
And you're going to just make it a part of your subconscious mind.
Yeah, the whole idea. So yeah, it's not like, we don't want to think of this as like actual bucket list. I want to do it before I die. I like to think in almost like things that could happen in the next 2 to 3 years, because you want it to feel far enough out where you, again, in your mind, you can't try to calculate how it's going to happen. Am I going to move to this new city or in this house or get to this financial goal or meet this person or, you know, get into the best shape of my life. But those are the types of things that you write down. You don't want to how your way to them. You write it down, you look at it 3 times a day and watch the magic. Like this synchronous.
I haven't done this yet.
Arielle,
you've been holding out on me.
What? Oh, no way. Well, you do this in a way, because we do this as a practice. But yeah, have this list in your phone and look at it 2 or 3 times a day. It works. In fact, like, I mean, this is not new. This is not my thing. This has been around for forever. Like this has been the secret that everyone used to do back in the day and no one would talk about, because it was the secret life hack and people wanted to keep it to themselves. But it actually works, and it will blow your mind the way that
Let's
the things
give
will
an
start showing.
example of one of the things. So like one of the things that, because you had given me a tip like a few months ago, I really wanted to hit our first milestone with our sales. Yeah. And I'm just throwing in a number. Let's say it's $10,000. And I said, you said, right. I'm so grateful. This is an example. I'm so grateful for getting $10,000 in sales for the month of April, whatever it is. I wrote it 33 times in a row for 3 days.
Yeah.
And Julia can speak to like what is the math, like why 33 times, why 3 days, I don't know. It happened.
Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it would. We were doing a lot less in sales when we first started. And I was like, how am I going to reach this milestone? And things aligned.
Yeah.
And I believe that I shifted my mindset and called it in by by truly believing what I was writing after writing it 33 times for 3 days.
Yeah. And that's a different exercise.
Okay.
There's all the, well, there's all like the TikTok-y things, which, write it down 33 times, 3 nights in a row, or 55 times, 5 nights in a row. There's all these like the 555 method, 333. And the thing is, people always ask me, like, do those work? They all sound like BS. And it's like, actually, they all kind of do work. They all kind of do the same thing. It's the same as what I'm talking about with the list and looking at it 3 times. The idea, and there's a little bit of science and a lot of spirituality in this. So if you're into the woo, you're going to love this. But if you're into the science, you can see it too. The whole thing is that we want our subconscious, we want our brains to wrap the idea around that number. We want to become so familiar with it that it feels already like it's part of our reality. It's almost like a rehearsal for it coming. So by the time that thing shows up, it actually doesn't surprise you that much because you've seen it so many times. It's in there. And on the science side, it kind of makes sense too, because if you believe that you're going to have that 10K month and you're looking 10K, 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 you're going to be looking for 10K ideas. You're going to be having those 10K opportunities that maybe if you have been writing down $100 a month or whatever over and over, you're only looking for those $100 ideas. So and then there's the energetic spirituality behind this, where the more you focus on something and start to believe in it, get it into your subconscious, you're actually getting on that frequency. And that's where things like the law of attraction kick in, where you're actually attracting opportunities and things that are on that similar energy, frequency, wavelength. And that there's some science and spirituality to law of attraction too. But the idea is, you focus on something enough, that's an energy, that focus, that visualizing that thing is creating an energy that is then attracting it back to you.
I love that. Can you, for like the 10 things that you write down, like as a something that you want to attain, could it say I want to make 100,000 in sales for the month, or could it be?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It can be anything. And I think that there's some people feel very one way or another when it comes to financial things. Like, is it okay to desire that? Is that too much? Is that selfish? Is that wrong? My whole thing is like, if it's on your heart and it's something you desire and you're a good person, you're going to do good with whatever you call in. So if it's your calling, if you have a financial goal and you call that in, that's only going to make you a more generous person. That's only going to make you want to give more easily. That's only going to, when your bucket is overflowing,
That's so true.
You are much more likely to support things and people that you care about. So yes, absolutely. I think for the list thing, you just want to keep it short and concise because you have 10 things on there. So maybe you write down 100K and you know what that means to you.
Right.
But when you see it, you look at it, you feel it. What's it going to be like when it hits my account? Who are the people that I'm going to support? Who's the first person I'm going to call? How are we going to celebrate? Just really putting yourself in that future place when the thing shows up, when it comes in.
So Julia has really introduced me to journaling. Like, that's something that journaling is not something that I've done, really, or did, or incorporated into my life very often. And now it really is a part of my routine. I think I journal a few times a week now. And so I want to give everyone who's here, can you give them like a journaling prompt today? Because you've helped me so much.
Yeah.
For journaling prompts that you've given me.
Yeah.
And I think it's so powerful, because it's all like journaling and visualization for me has been the most powerful techniques of how I've gotten to where I am. and I would
Okay, yeah.
love to hear.
Something just came to me, and by the way, I have not seen any of your questions. I don't know what's coming, but if I were going to give anyone a journaling prompt, it's this: if nothing bad could happen, and if I took money out of the equation, what would I do next? If nothing bad could happen, and if I took money out of the equation, what would I do next? And I think the reason why I think this could be a good place to start is because oftentimes, and we're talking about business, we're talking about career right now, we actually really limit ourselves when we think about, well, is it possible? What if this? What if this? And also, can I make money from that? And so we kind of like hold ourselves back or sell ourselves short when if we can take those things out of the equation and just sort of connect with our soul and our deep desires, it allows us to really think about the things that are most aligned. And then when you connect and move and start creating from that place, the money comes. Like you figure out you get around the obstacles, the challenges become easier they're all part of it. They're all part of the journey. But I think the most important thing is to create and build something that you actually want to create and build and do, and that it's a desire that's coming from your heart and your soul.
Wow, that's like, I love that. So the next thing I want to ask you, and if anybody has, like, please feel free to comment. If anybody wants to talk about a certain
Oh yeah,
topic that we're not
ask
here,
questions. Put them
please
in the
ask.
chat.
I would love you guys to ask something that's really interesting to you. Julia's time is super precious, and we're also lucky to have her here. And so please, like, chime in. But my question for you is, how, if you're a business owner, or if you're not, like if you just are high level exec, or you want to up level in your career, what is the most effective way to integrate, or how can business owners effectively integrate manifestation techniques into their daily operations?
Oh yeah. Okay. How do I reel this in? Because there's so many things.
Yeah.
And Arielle we were talking about this right before we went live. And she was actually asking me, like, how do you use manifestation in your business? And how do you, like, in terms of like the success that you've had, what do you credit manifestation for? And I'm like, everything. I mean, it's just become such a, I've started to embody these principles so much. It's become such a way of life that at this point, I sort of know what's going to be successful or not just based on how I feel. So I think if I'm just going to like share a few things for the business owner or for someone who is creating something and wanting to make it financially successful or successful in some other way and wants to move away from what I would call just the masculine way of doing things, which is like the spreadsheets and the plan and the strategy and the do and work and double the effort if you're not working hard enough, like that kind of thing, which can be exhausting and can lead to burnout and leads to these like, I don't want to do this anymore, which is sort of defeats the whole purpose you want to go into business for yourself to begin with. Manifestation is much more this feminine energy, which is about being in flow, about the things that you can't touch or feel or put on, or, you know, like the tangible things that you're putting on a spreadsheet. It's much more moving from a place of intuitive knowing. But the things that have been a 2 hour live, did you lose me? Oh, did you lose me? Are you there? Okay. I don't know where I got lost. I don't know if anyone lost me. But I'm talking about now one of the things that you could do as a business owner, as someone who's creating something, looking to find success and move away from just like the doing that can lead to burnout, is taking a few minutes every day to visualize. And I'm not talking about sit in meditation and wait for downloads to come through. Like there's a time and a place for that. And if you're into meditation, great. I like go through waves of like feeling like I love meditation, and then sometimes I'm like, I can't do this. It's just like my mind doesn't want to do that. But I do make time for visualization, which I think of as more like daydreaming, honestly. And you can do visualization for your day ahead. So sit down in the morning and take a minute, like literally 60
Yeah.
seconds. Close your eyes and envision, how is this day going to be so successful? I like to say, to almost envision, oh my gosh, what's it going to feel like when I get some amazing, unexpected news? I get a call or I get an email. I almost like, oh, it's going to feel so good. Or how, if you have like something really big to do or a presentation, or you're going live, or you're like, I don't know, creating a video, imagine it just going perfectly well. Imagine what it's going to feel like at the end of the day when you're so proud of yourself. You feel so accomplished. What is it going to feel like when you're serving someone else and you see them smiling and excited on the other end, and they're like, you helped me so much, or blah, 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 or I love your product, or that type of thing. 60 seconds of doing that, preparing yourself for a day. What you're doing is you are actually, I mean, there's some science here too, but by the way, this is what every major athlete does, right? Like, think of Tiger Woods, all of like basketball players, they take time to visualize sinking the putt, making the free throw, because our brains don't actually know the difference between something visualized and something happening in reality. And so what's really cool is that this is like the visualization is practicing, and by practicing, once you start doing your day, you start looking out for those things, and then you start seeing them everywhere, the things that are going to support you in feeling or getting those opportunities. And you can do that again, like on more of that small scale of in the day, in the moment, but then you can do it for the bigger picture. And this is fun too. Take a couple minutes every week, close your eyes, and imagine what next year is going to feel like when you achieve the
Ugh,
goals, when you move to the new home,
yeah.
when you hit the thing. Like, put yourself there. You could do a whole, like, I wake up in the morning, am I in my bed, what does it smell like, what does it feel like, I make my coffee, oh my god, I'm so excited for my day. That is so powerful. Like, it is so powerful, and it's fun. So
I
I
think
think, going back to your
that's a
question,
really good advice,
yeah,
Julia, for people who especially are like in ruts right now that like
yeah,
feel like they're like even me, I was feeling like almost like I've been running on a hamster wheel. I'm like working my ass off,
yeah,
truly.
yeah,
I mean, guys, I don't know if you know what my day looks like, but I'm doing a lot of things. Okay, I'm the CEO and founder of Mama Soul, but I also have a full time job that I have to that supports our family, and it's really overwhelming. And I was starting to feel like I was like on this wheel of work, work, work. I'm putting out all this stuff, and I wasn't getting back what I wanted.
yeah,
So I feel like this is a really good way to shift your energy, is to practice the visualization, like of what you just said, essentially, is to like envision like what it's going to feel like when you get that unexpected
yeah,
news, that like one of the feelers you put out is going to come back to you, and it's going to come back big, right? And
yeah,
that's, I think, because I think so many people here, probably raise your hand if you feel this way, but like who's feeling like they're in a rut and like they need some inspiration.
yeah.
um
And one other thing I want to mention, I mean, I have like 5,000 answers to
yeah,
your question, Arielle, but I know we don't have much time. But one thing that I think is really important is like not is kind of going back to what I was saying about the manifestation being in the feminine energy. And I I know when something is aligned. I know when I'm on the right path based on how I feel. If you feel good, it's
yeah,
working. If you don't feel good, like if you're like, oh, I don't like what I'm doing,
yeah,
or you're banging your head against it, stop. Like, go on a walk. Like, get out of. And I realize, like, a lot of us are in corporate jobs or doing things that you have that feeling. Your body is telling you something. It's probably not the right fit for you, but let that be an opportunity to start exploring and seeing what does feel good. Your emotions, your body is like an infallible barometer for if you're on the right track. So
Madison
for
says,
me,
but what do
yeah.
you do when you feel lost and you don't know what to do?
Oh, what do you do when you feel lost
You
and
don't know
don't
what to
and not know what to do? Okay. So I think that this happens a lot, right? We're like kind of going a million directions, or we actually don't know what we want at all. And I think this is the opportunity to take a step back. And actually, there's an exercise that I really like, which is the Wheel of Life exercise. It's basically you look at all different areas of your life, from your career, your health, your relationships, your home environment, your personal development, the fun you're having in your life. And you just give yourself like a little grade, like 1 to 10. How am I feeling? And it's just like, you don't have to overthink it. It's just, how am I feeling? And what that can do is that can pinpoint where in your life you feel off balance, because sometimes we're like, it's just my job, it's
do.
just the
You don't even
career,
know why.
but
Yeah,
it's
you don't
not.
even know why you're feeling like
And
that.
you
Yeah.
realize it's actually, I feel really out of balance in my relationship, or I am not having any fun in my life. And then all of a sudden you're more intentional. Okay, this is, or it's my health, right? I don't feel good in my body. I feel like, oh, I'm not sleeping enough. And you make some changes in that area that's feeling really out of balance, and all of a sudden things just become more clear. And then maybe the ideas start to come for the career, or maybe you're like, I do actually want to move out and go somewhere else or do something. It's just like, you have to first figure out, what is it that's creating this sense of imbalance, insecurity, feeling of being lost in my life. And then if you know what it is, that's where you can be really intentional. Okay, well, how do I want to feel? I want to feel really excited. I want to feel like proud of what I do. I want to make an impact, or I want to feel healthy and vibrant and energized. And then you can go into more of the masculine. Here are 3 things that I'm going to commit to and hold myself accountable to get me to, from like a feeling like a 1 or a 2 to like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, that's really helpful, because Julia, when I first met Julia, so I'll just tell you guys how I met Julia. So my next door neighbor is become one of my closest friends, and she is also one of Julia's best friends. And so she hosted a workshop at her house, and I was feeling so down when Julia came. I felt like I had completely lost sight of my vision for my brand, and I was focusing on all the wrong things. I was focusing on numbers, sales, da, 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 da. And I wasn't thinking about why I started Mama Soul, which was to create a community of moms and women, to come together and to connect on so many things. And I made this wheel, and I felt like I was like flourishing in, certain areas that were like, maybe business related, but like my self-care, my, the self-care was probably my lowest. Um, and so I was like, I'm going to go to a concert, which I still haven't done. I'm holding myself accountable. I need to go to a concert. But also one of the things was like creating that space for me to connect with other women would help me and my self-care. And so that's when I actually created the Mama Soul Partnership Program, which was a way to, and we were gonna be creating another one, but we just finished our first round of it, and Ashley is here right now with us. She was part of the program, but it was a way for all of us to connect and hold each other accountable for all of these things. And it definitely, I think when I did that and I saw how much that wheel helped other people, I want to spread that to all of you. And I think that can help so much. Julia, your dog's across the street. I just want to let you know that.
He goes for little joyrides.
Okay.
Okay.
I was just making sure that's okay. Sorry, guys. I'm at Julia's house right now.
That's okay. I'll go. He's okay.
Okay.
He is blind.
Okay. I just want to
But
make sure.
we'll wait a few minutes. He should be okay.
Okay. So with that wheel of life, guys, I highly recommend you do it. if you are interested in getting what that looks like, just DM either
Yeah.
Julia, Dream Your Life, or Shop Mama Soul, and we'll get you that grid. You just send us your email. I'm happy to share it because it's so helpful to, like I said, to like what Julia was saying, to pinpoint where you're lacking and how you want to feel. And so Julia,
There's been
yeah,
some questions coming through. I just want to make sure that we're not missing anything. I saw Carissa had one. Madison, did we answer your question about feeling lost? Are you still there? Maybe she's not there.
yeah,
Okay.
Madison, if you're still there, you can just message us and let us know.
Okay. And then Carissa, I love you, Carissa. Carissa was one of my clients too. What if your feelings go up and down so much? I haven't found anything that feels good all the time, so then I doubt that I'm doing the right thing. Carissa, first of all, you're a human being, and we all have that. Like, it's not supposed to be rainbows and butterflies. You know this more than anything. Our soul craves contrast. So the down parts are only going to be highlighting the highs when you're feeling good. And I think this deserves a much bigger conversation. But I would be so curious to ask you, like, what are those moments where you're feeling so lit up, when you're in the flow, when you're doing something and you don't even realize so much time has passed because you're so enthralled in what you're doing? Those things that feel so good to you. I know you, so I know that writing is a big part of it. And to me, that's so clear. Writing is something that your soul craves and a way for you to connect with other people and make an impact and serve. But I think one of the things that we do to ourselves as humans is we're so judgmental, like self-judgmental, right? Like, and that's where we actually suffer the most, is when we judge ourselves, when we judge ourselves for not feeling good, when we judge ourselves for having the emotions up and down, when we judge ourselves for like not being high vibe when we want to. And so maybe there's some part of that too, is recognizing like, I'm a human being with a full range of emotions, and I can express it, and I can be sad, and I can be upset, and I can do things that I don't like. And then the next day I could wake up and feel alive and excited about everything and be doing something that feels so meaningful and purposeful. And it's like, that's what makes you full. That's what makes you whole. And that's what makes you a human being. And accepting it and loving yourself through that, I think, is a big part of it.
thank you. Julia, everything you say makes so much sense, and it always like hits so deep with me. You're such a busy mom, and I'm assuming a lot of here today or that are joining us are also busy moms. How do you manage to balance the demands of running a business and being a mom? Like, what would you say are like just a few different ways that you can help other people that are here today, like feel more present with their
Yeah.
kids
Yeah.
that are struggling there?
Yeah. And I have like probably like my number one answer. And I think that hopefully this is starting to be more well received. I think if I shared this 20 years ago, people would judge me and say that I'm being selfish. But what I want to share is, I think for me, and I've talked about this a lot, the number one thing is that I prioritize feeling good. I have 3 young kids. I have 2 businesses, and I also have friends and obligations and a husband that I want to keep the romance alive, all those things. If I'm not feeling good, all of them feel it, right? I'm not as present as a mom. I am not as sweet as a wife. I'm not as impactful as a coach. I'm not, as strategic as a consultant, like all those things. So I prioritize feeling good. And if that means saying, bye, kids, I'm going to go to yoga and then go get a manicure because I need it, or like, taking some time just for myself, shutting the door and breathing or like doing something that I love. I prioritize my exercise. All of those things.
That's
And
really great, Julia, because, I think a lot of us feel guilt, mom guilt, whenever we do those things. But what I've noticed is like when I do make the time to go do that, because I'm getting messages left and right for myself, just like I know that I'm not taking care of myself the way I should be.
yeah.
I just came back from a 2 week long vacation in the mountains. I came back feeling so good and reset, and I'm such a better mom for it. And so just talking, because I haven't even processed that quite yet, but
Yeah,
I
no,
think like
it's true.
talking, yeah, I think like talking through that is like really helpful, because I think now I'm not going to let myself feel guilty when I want
No.
to go take that break, because when I do that, like when I go to my yoga class and then I go get my nails done or whatever it is that makes me feel good, and then I come back, my husband always says like, you need to do
Yeah,
that more. Like you're
because he
so much
feels it.
you're
He
so much
knows.
better to be around.
What, and also think about with your kids, like, would they rather have 2 hours of you like, or like on your
Right.
phone or not really there? Or you're out for an hour doing something that energizes you and fuels you, and then you come back and you're playing with them and you're on the floor and you're fun,
Yes.
vibrant, and that's what they feel, that's what they
Yes.
want. And also they know when you're not your best self. They know when you're not really happy. Like, we're all intuitive, and energy speaks louder than words.
You guys,
And
this is
so,
your permission. Go out and do something for yourself today or tomorrow and make the time, because I'm telling you, I am like the number one, like I feel guilty whenever I leave my
yeah, no,
kids. I
no. And sometimes, like, and I get it for the person who's like, well, I don't have, childcare or whatever. Like, even if it's just in the evening, you're like, I'm gonna take a bubble bath or take a shower with my steamers on, and then I'm going to do a face mask, and the door is going to be closed, and I'm going to be playing music, and hubby, you're going to just like take care of tonight because I need this.
yeah.
I guarantee you everyone will feel the difference than if you were to like begrudgingly upset, like go through the motions.
Yeah.
And you give the gift back to your partner, but or just taking a walk in nature. Like, we're not meant to just be on screens
No.
all the time. Like, get outside, be in nature, look at the beauty of a sunset, all those things. And sometimes you want to do that on your own because you don't want to be distracted by the kids or whatever, and then come back and see how your energy shifts and changes, and then how that impacts everyone around you.
And I think like something that might help others is like schedule that time in your phone.
Yeah.
Like not every day is the same, but like if you have it in your calendar, like every day at 2 p.m., I'm gonna go take a walk without my phone, and I'm just gonna go on a walk, or I'm gonna take a bath or a nap or whatever it is that makes you feel good. I think that just having in your phone is like a reminder, like prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
You're important, like that is a good way, especially for people who are just like get caught up in the everyday grind,
Yeah. Yeah.
Julia, can
100%.
we sum up for everybody who, because a lot of people join midway through, can we just do a quick summary of kind of like some of the things we've talked about, the
Yeah.
sessions? And if anybody wants to get out a pen and paper, if you want to, because I want really what I want.
Let me come down and visit you.
Okay. But like really,
Together.
what I want for this, for everybody here, is to feel like,
Oh wait, that volume is
I
gonna
think,
be.
yeah,
Okay, never mind.
I think what I want everyone to feel is like they can walk away from this feeling like they have the tools to start making shifts today.
Yeah.
And I know myself, and like I need like actionable things. So like not the first thing I think we talked about was writing down 10
Okay.
things that you feel are,
Yeah.
okay.
So grab your phone and write. And fine, you don't have to do it on your phone, but again, I suggest your phone just because it's probably always with you. Take out a note and write down 10 things that you desire to call into your life. They can be feelings, they can be, again, like financial milestones, they can be moving to a new place, new home, relationship goals,
But how do
health
you
goals.
write them? Like,
Oh,
Like
I just,
I've heard mixed things about
yeah,
like being like, I
don't
want
worry
this.
about writing. I am grateful. You don't need to do present tense or anything. We don't have enough time to get into all of the different things. There's different exercises like scripting where you put yourself into the present moment in the future, and that works too. But for this exercise, you're just trying any way you want. Like it can be a bullet point. For me, I just write down like kind of just like, you know, I wish I could just pull out my phone. Like it will just be like a revenue goal number. It will be I did put, I'll just share this. I put Netflix documentary on there because it came to me and I'm like, oh, that would be so cool to do a Netflix documentary one day. I have no idea what this means, how I would do it, what it would look like what we would talk, nothing. All I'm just like, oh, that feels really exciting and big. So I just write Netflix
Well, I
documentary.
wanted the cover of Forbes. So that was
Forbes,
mine.
right? Forbes, perfect. Maybe write Forbes, 40 under, wait, are you 40 yet? I forget.
No, I'm 39.
Oh, perfect. Forbes 40 under 40.
I don't have much longer, guys.
Um, but things like that, or Hawaiian vacation, fly first class, go to Egypt, whatever, like
Okay.
um
So it doesn't matter when you write,
redo my new
this,
backyard, new kitchen, anything
okay.
anything that feels um again, I like to think of these as like they're gonna happen in about 3 years. You want it to feel far enough away, again, that you're like, I don't know exactly how it will happen, but close enough that it doesn't feel like, okay, well, I'm gonna be old, isn't the end of my life. So like 3-year goals, manifestations, how you want to feel, write them down in your phone, 10 things, and then look at this list in the morning and in the evening. And when you look, you're not just looking at it, reading it, you're actually going through, and this is the fun part because it's like some like childlike wonder and daydreaming. But as you look at the thing, just take a couple seconds to think about it and feel it. So Forbes 40 under 40, or just Forbes. Put yourself on the cover, Arielle. Like imagine yourself walking to the magazines. Do we still have magazine
Yes,
stands? I don't know if we.
yes, we do.
Oh, just like in the grocery store, um, grabbing and being like, ah, and telling the little cashier, that's me, no big deal. Just like that kind of thing. Or putting yourself, okay, I'm walking in Paris, I'm walking up the Eiffel Tower, I'm having my little coffee in the morning in the baguette,
Okay, so
like that.
you took it one step further. You're writing these things, but then you're visualizing these things when you look.
When you look at the list twice a day, you're just doing a quick
Okay.
little image visualization. You're not like really going there for too long because you don't have time to do that, or I don't have time to do that. I just look at this list and kind of just like get the feeling,
Okay.
and then it shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes. Like, so, like 30 seconds per thing.
Okay.
Watch what happens.
I'm
Watch.
doing it.
And
I'm doing
message,
it. I'm doing it
message
today.
on the soul and me when the things start coming true, and you're going to be like, I don't even understand how this is possible, but this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened. So that is one little tactical, fun manifestation technique that works.
Love that. Can we talk, what was the next thing that we talked about? Because we can talk about the things about writing things down
Okay.
3 days in a row.
Yeah. Limiting beliefs, I think this is a big one. When you set the vision for what you want, you have the intention, you start thinking about it, most likely you're going to have some thoughts that creep in. It's not possible, you're not good enough, like all these things that maybe like coming up from childhood. And there's a lot to this because there could be some like inner child healing stuff that needs to happen. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the fact that you have some beliefs that are probably blocking that thing from happening, because if you really believe that it's going to happen, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It will happen. So you just want to identify the things that are making you think it won't.
Can I bring, so my sister is here, Kayla, and she has a limiting belief. So my sister Kayla has written an incredible children's book, and she wants to get it published. And
with her draw, like images, drawing.
Yeah, she's. Wait until you see this. I'll show it to you.
Look it through they come to life in the phone.
They come to life, and the children's book is absolutely incredible. Yeah. She has a major limiting belief. She feels like she's not, like, no one's gonna see the vision, no one's gonna publish it. How would you reframe that for her?
Okay, so when we reframe limiting beliefs, the key here is to not tell ourselves something that we don't actually think is true. So I would not, hi Kayla, I would not say, um, like, you know, publishers are just going to come flocking to me. Like I'm attracting all the, because if she
Okay.
doesn't really believe it, that's just going to like create just some like, just
Conflict, internal
conflict.
conflict.
We
Yeah.
don't want, we want to write down something that she does believe.
Yeah.
So what do you believe? I believe that when children read this book, they're going to be lit up by the stories that they read.
That's true.
And then focus on that. I believe that there's probably a publisher out there that could see my vision. Like, do you believe that? I mean, that would be a question.
Yeah.
Of all the publishers out there, I could believe that. Then you start telling yourself that. I do believe that there's someone out there that could see the vision and that would be excited to see this coming through. That's all you need. That's all you need. Tell yourself that over and over, and then hold on to that other belief. I can't wait to see children experience the magic that's in these books, and then start to picture that.
I love
And then
that.
what happens? And then when that limiting belief comes in, like no one's going to publish it, you go back to there's someone out there, I believe.
And I love focusing on the message of spreading this to children and not as much on like that outcome of
Yeah,
like I love that because that's part of like infinite
that's
possibilities because you're
how, like, don't get hung up on the how. Don't get hung up on the how. There's so many ways to publish a book at this point, and there's so many different people. Like, it doesn't have to be the old school way of doing things.
if anyone else has a limiting belief that they want to share here, please, like, we're happy to help reframe it for you. Because I have lots of them. I'm sure, but luckily I have access to Julia. Okay. Then we talked about, besides limiting beliefs, we talked about doing that grid.
Oh, okay, so the wheel of life. Yeah. So the wheel of life, which again, if you guys want a copy of this exercise with some journal prompts that go around it, you can ask DM Mama Soul or me.
Yep.
But this is just a way, well, one, it's a way to identify limiting beliefs and also what feels off balance in your life, but it's also a way to figure out what you actually want to manifest or what are the desires that you have, because we look at the whole of our life. We don't just look at career or just finances, which is a lot of the time when we think of like vision boards and stuff, like we only think about those things and maybe like vacations, when the whole of our life is so much more. It's health, it's relationships, it's spiritual development, it's personal development, it's the fun we're having in our life. So you do this exercise and you see from there you have this like 360-degree view of your life and of the things that are imbalanced, and you start with the places where you're not feeling good at all, and then you can move into, again, like, how can I get from a 1 out of 10 to a 10 out of 10? What are the things, the changes that I can make in my life right now, the things that I can do from where I am,
I think one of the most
place.
helpful things, Julia, you taught me when I was doing this grid was to like actually write down tangible actions that you can take to fix those things in your life. And that's like when I did this exercise with our Mama Soul partnership program. And that's, just so you guys know what that is, it's essentially where I put out an ask to our community. I said, you can join our Mama Soul partnership program. There's 6 spots. We had over 100 applications. It was amazing. But essentially, it was, these women are here to make content for Mama Soul. They can get commission on the sales, but they also are learning about a brand and how to sell it and how to enhance their own aspirations to become maybe an UGC creator or whatever it was. And we were doing monthly meetups and talking about manifestation and incorporating that into your life. Mm-hmm. And so I helped the girls really write down 3 things that they can do, whether it be doing your work, one of them was saying that their relationship was kind of on the rocks, you know, or they felt like it needed a boost. And I said, well, why don't you take every night, talk about what you're grateful for together.
Mm-hmm.
And they really connected every night. And it's like that. It's like tangible action items that you make.
Yes. Actionable, specific. And that's where you can get to like, did you do it or did you not do it? These things that are like the to-do list items. And maybe you need someone to hold you accountable to those things too. So find an accountability partner, but be like, okay, I know that my health is like, I'm not feeling that great. So what are the things I'm going to do? I'm going to like put my phone in the other room at night. I'm not going to watch TV. I'm going to read 2 chapters a night. And I'm also going to get up 30 minutes earlier and work out 3 or 4 times a week. Those are like the types of actionable things that you would add. But it starts with, again, taking a step back and looking at your life and seeing what feels out of balance and what doesn't feel good.
Yeah. And then I don't know if I'm missing anything besides just a journaling prompts that we said, if we want to repeat what that journaling prompt was and to leave everybody with something that they can write about today.
Yeah. So the journaling prompt is,
if nothing bad could happen.
Yeah. If nothing bad could happen, and if you took money out of the whole equation, what would be your next step? What would you do next? That's it.
For me, if anybody wants to know.
Yeah, what's yours?
Yeah, I'm really focusing right now on what I'm passionate about, and that's creating new products. And I have, you know, we just launched 2 new products this past April. Super successful. I'm so proud of them, the whole line, and I hope everybody here has a chance to try it. But yeah, I think I'm
putting on my sunscreen right now.
Oh, good.
Because I'm going to go out in the sun after this.
Focusing on my passion to create a new product. And, you know, that's scary because it costs money. And so, you know, it might not do well. That's something bad that could happen. But now what I'm going to do is just trust in my vision for the brand, because I know that I have a good vision for this brand, and I'm so excited. And if anybody here would, you know, if you're not following our line, Shop Mama Soul, or our page, I would love for you to follow us. We have such amazing things that are coming up, and we're going to be doing expert speaker series like this every month. But I just want to, I would love you all to follow along for the journey. And if you have tips or you have requests of things that you want to see from Shop Mama Soul, I'd love to hear it. And
Arielle, this is literally, by the way, and like people, I think I've done like a few stories on Shop Mama Soul, and I'm like, I'm not an affiliate. Of course, I love Arielle, but this is seriously the best sunscreen. This is my 2nd bottle, and I love it so much. Like it smells so good, and it's I just love the way it feels. And again, this is not an ad. This is someone who actually really loves it, believes in the product, believes in the mission, and believes in the founder, who is just incredible.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Julia, I loved having you on so much. I hope we can do this again. And I hope that what we shared with you guys was super helpful, because it helped me. And I talked to Julia a lot. So really, because honestly, like, you need reminders to do these things.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what, just so anybody's following Shop Mama Soul, that's kind of what I want to be for you guys. And I'm like kind of like processing this in this moment. Like I want to be that accountability coach for you, without even like, maybe if not even talking to you directly, just like us reminding you how important it is to take care of yourself.
Love it. I love it.
I love it too. Well, thank you guys. Julia, do you want to say anything else before we hop off?
No, you know what I'm going to do? Now that we're going to close this out, we're going to see how we've been. Hi! Love this girl.
Oh, bye guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Bye.